Hey, good to see you once again, CISSP wannabes. My name's Colin Weaver. These are the IT Dojo CISSP questions of the day, where every single day I come at you with 2 new questions to help you continue to prep for your CISSP exam. So, here comes question number 1. Which of the following is an example of a type 2 error in biometrics? There are your answer choices. Click on pause, give those a read. When you're ready, click play, and we can talk it through. First answer choice says that Bob uses a fingerprint scanner to authenticate as Bob, but is rejected. No, that is a type 1 error. That is a false rejection. It's also called type 1. We're looking for type 2. Option number 2 on the list says that Sally uses an iris scanner to authenticate as Bob and is accepted. That is a type 2 error in biometrics. That is called a false acceptance. False acceptance, or FAR, false acceptance rate, or a type 2 error. So that's the right answer that you're looking for. But let's review the other ones just to be sure that we've covered them all. Third option says that Bob concatenates his PIN with his one-time password, but the one-time password has already expired. Not biometrics. So that's an effort at 2-factor authentication, something you have and something you know, but not biometric in any way, shape, or form. So not considered one of the even remotely possible answers here. All right, how about Sally using an iris scanner to authenticate as Sally and she is accepted? Okay, that's not an error. Okay, that's a true positive. That's exactly what we want. Then the last answer choice on the list says that Bob uses a fingerprint scanner to authenticate as Sally and is rejected. That's also not an error. That's desired result. That's what we want. So that's a true negative. So type 1 errors and type 2 errors, what we're looking for here. This question was specifically on type 2 errors, and type 2 errors are false acceptances, and that's the scenario where Sally attempts to authenticate as Bob and is successful. So that's pretty darn bad, to say the least. All right, here comes question number 2 for you. My question is, pick 2. What are the benefits of single sign-on from those choices? Give it some thought, click pause if you need to, then click play. We'll answer the question. All right, a single sign-on is a benefit that it provides centralized administration or decentralized administration. Absolutely centralized administration. The whole idea of single sign-on is that users have one account that they use to authenticate and log in with, and then they can use that to provide them access to resources from a variety of different systems. And we can also then centrally administer that, so that if the user leaves the organization or becomes otherwise not welcome in terms of gaining access to resources, we need only go in and disable that one account, and it disables their access to all the different systems. As opposed to a decentralized approach, which means, in essence, that you've got user accounts all over the place. So a single sign-on goes in and provides really one user account to rule them all. Granular control over individual system access. No. If you wanted to have that level of granularity, you would really be back more into the notion of using individual accounts on individual systems. That gives you very granular control, but it comes with that high administration overhead. And we want to keep things as simple as possible, whenever possible. And so decentralized administration is a positive. And getting a really fine granular control usually is going to tilt you towards much more administrative overhead and making that stuff happen. How about transparency for users? Absolutely. This greatly simplifies a user's day-to-day activities. If they come in, they sit down, they use one username and password, it grants them access to a variety of different resources that they need in order to get their job done, as opposed to them having to know multiple different sets of credentials to be able to log into this system and this system and this system and this system and this system in order to be able to get their work done. That creates a level of complexity and lack of transparency that makes the users less productive. And so that transparency mechanism that single sign-on brings has the potential to increase productivity because of the transparency for users as far as the login credentials are concerned, which is nice. And then the last answer choice here, which is limited exposure in the event of credential compromise. No, definitely not the right answer. This is one of the drawbacks to single sign-on, is that if you do use single sign-on to control access to a variety of different systems and resources, if somebody gains control of those credentials, that then gives them access to all those different systems. Whereas if it had been a decentralized solution that required individual sets of credentials for each individual system, then a compromise of one of those passwords only leads to a compromise of that particular resource as opposed to a larger number of resources. So this is one of the two-edged, components of single sign-on, that you get this wonderful centralized administration, you get improved efficiency and productivity through transparency for your users, but if there is a compromise, it could actually be more far-reaching in terms of its consequence. And that's what you're going to have to balance out in your risk tolerances versus your administration needs and things like that. Cool, 2 more questions done. Appreciate you being here. Please subscribe if you're digging these videos. Also click on that like button. I will definitely appreciate that as well. And with that, I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.